40,000 years ago, your attention kept you alive. A shape moving in the grass, a crack in the branches, a face turning angry across the fire. Your brain was built to notice things like that. And now, that same brain is being fed an endless forest of glowing signals. A red dot, a vibration, a new face, a new argument, a new disaster, a new video starting before your last thought has even finished. You pick up your phone for 1 second, and somehow 20 minutes are gone. But the strangest part is not even that you lost time. It is that when you finally put the phone down, you often do not feel rested. You feel emptier, like your brain has been busy, but your life has not moved. Most people explain this as addiction, or laziness, or bad discipline. But that feels too simple, because the real question is not just, why do you keep looking at your phone? The real question is, why does a silent rectangle on a table sometimes feel more urgent than your own life? This video is not about blaming you for scrolling. It is about understanding why stopping feels so strangely hard. Because the most powerful attention machine in human history is sitting in your hand, and it is plugged directly into instincts that are older than language, cities, money, and clocks. Your brain was not built for infinite scrolling. It was built for a world with edges. A forest ended, a trail ended, a hunt ended, a conversation ended, the sun went down, the fire burned low, the tribe slept. But the scroll does not end, and that changes everything. For almost all of human history, attention was not entertainment. It was survival. If the grass moved strangely, you looked. If a child cried, you listened. If someone stared too long from across the fire, you noticed. If the birds suddenly went quiet, your body reacted before your conscious mind had time to explain why. Because in the old world, change usually meant something. A predator moving, a storm coming, food appearing, danger passing close by, someone in the group behaving differently. Your brain learned to treat change as important. And that made sense. One brain imaging study from 2000 found that certain brain networks become active when the sensory world suddenly changes, when something new appears, moves, or demands attention. In plain English, your brain is always asking, did something just happen? That once helped keep us alive. But your phone is almost nothing but change. Every swipe gives you a new image. Every refresh promises new information. Every notification whispers, something happened. And every platform becomes a kind of weather system. Novelty, threat, beauty, gossip, status, outrage, surprise. To your ancient brain, all of that sounds like one command. Look again, just one more time. And the more you look, the more the system learns what makes you look. That is where scrolling becomes different from ordinary distraction. A book distracts you with a story. A television show distracts you with a program. But a feed distracts you with possibility. It does not need to reward you every time. Actually, it is often more powerful when it does not. Sometimes you open the app and there is nothing. Sometimes there is a message from someone you care about. Sometimes there is a video so funny you send it to 3 people. Sometimes there is a comment that ruins your mood for an hour. Sometimes there is a face you cannot stop looking at. Sometimes there is a piece of news that makes the world feel like it is falling apart. And sometimes there is nothing, so you check again. Think about the last time you opened your phone without meaning to. Were you actually looking for something specific, or were you looking because there might be something there? That tiny difference matters, because possibility is one of the hardest things for the brain to ignore. This is also where people often misunderstand dopamine. Dopamine is not just a pleasure chemical. It is involved in wanting, learning, prediction, and reward. It helps the brain ask, was that worth it? Was it better than expected? Should I do it again? That is useful if you are learning where fruit grows, which path is dangerous, or which people can be trusted. But on a phone, that same system gets trapped inside a machine that can generate new possibilities forever. The next swipe might be nothing, or it might be the message, the joke, the face, the proof that someone noticed you, the thing you were waiting for without even knowing you were waiting for it. So your hand moves before your mind catches up. One more, then one more, then one more. Researchers have seen this pattern in real smartphone use. One study described it as a checking habit, short, repeated inspections of dynamic content. Not long, planned sessions, just tiny checks. A few seconds here, a few seconds there, again and again. Maybe there's a message. Maybe there's an update. Maybe there is just enough possibility to make you check again. That is what makes infinite scrolling feel so modern and so ancient. The technology is new. The hook is old. Because you are not just looking for content, you are scanning the social environment. For most of human history, reputation was not a luxury. It was survival infrastructure. If the group liked you, you had allies. If the group protected you, you were safer. If the group rejected you, life became dangerous very quickly. So humans became intensely sensitive to social signals. Faces, attention, approval, rejection, status. Who ignored you? Who laughed? Who turned away? Social media did not invent the need to belong. It industrialized it, because now belonging has numbers attached to it. A like count, a view count, a reply, a share, a comment, a seen message with no response. Social approval once helped humans survive, but social media turns approval into something you can refresh. And that is a very strange thing to do to an ancient brain. Some brain imaging research has found that online reputation and social approval can activate reward-related areas of the brain. Other research has modeled social media engagement as a kind of reward learning. The basic idea is simple. Likes, replies, attention, and approval can feel like social rewards, and a feed can train your behavior around them. That is why scrolling is not only information, it is social weather. Every post is a possible signal about what people value. Every comment section is a miniature tribe. Every like count is a number attached to belonging. Every viral video is a clue about what the group is watching. Your ancient brain was built to care about that. It had to, but it was built for a tribe, not a planet. It was built to track dozens of people, not millions. It was built to notice one angry face across a fire, not 1,000 strangers arguing in your pocket before breakfast. So what happens when an ancient social brain is connected to the whole world? It gets tired, not because your body did too much. Your body barely moved. Your thumb traveled a few centimeters, but your nervous system crossed continents. Your body is still in bed, but your mind has been dragged through a war zone, a beauty contest, a comedy club, a marketplace, a funeral, a family argument, and a tribal status game, all before breakfast. That is not normal for a human brain. No ancient person ever had to emotionally process this many worlds before lunch. And your brain does not always know the difference between what is near and what is merely visible. If something appears in your attention again and again, your body starts treating it as part of your environment. That matters, because attention is not free. It has a cost. One study found something uncomfortable. When people performed tasks with their own smartphones nearby, they did worse than people whose phones were in another room. The phone did not have to ring. It did not have to flash. It did not even have to be used. Its presence was enough. Part of the mind was already managing the possibility of the phone. That is the hidden tax of modern attention. You are not only distracted when you check, you may also be spending energy not checking. And when you do check, the cost is not only the few seconds you lose, it is the return journey. Getting back into the thought you had before, the sentence you were writing, the conversation you were having, the feeling you were finally starting to understand. Research on interruptions shows something similar. People can sometimes keep up after being interrupted, but they often do it by working faster, with more stress, more effort, and more frustration, which is basically modern life in miniature. We keep up, but we pay for it internally. We answer the message. We watch the clip. We check the feed. We return to the task. We speed up. We feel behind. Then we reach for the same device that made us feel behind, hoping it will give us a break. And that is the strange loop. The phone makes us feel scattered. Then we pick it up to relax. It makes us feel behind. Then we open it for a break. It takes our attention, then sells little pieces of it back to us as entertainment. So what is it actually giving us? Not happiness exactly. Not rest, not peace. Most of the time, it gives us possibility, possible relief, possible belonging, possible novelty, possible escape, possible proof that something happened while we were gone. And possibility is enough. This is not a personal failure. It is a design collision. Ancient attention was built for a finite world. Modern platforms compete inside an infinite one. Your ancestors did not need willpower to stop looking at the forest. Eventually, the forest stopped changing. The trail became familiar. The animal was gone. The berry was picked. The story was over. The people around the fire were the people around the fire. There were natural stopping points everywhere. Modern feeds removed the stopping point. There is no last page, no final post, no bottom of the bowl, no moment where the app says, "You have seen enough. Go back to your life." The old world had endings built into it. The new world makes endings your responsibility, and then sells you 1,000 reasons to postpone them. That is why just have more discipline is not enough. Willpower is real, but it is the weakest tool to use against an environment designed around repetition, novelty, reward, and social pressure. You do not fix an ancient brain by shaming it for being ancient. You fix the environment. You put edges back. That might mean leaving the phone in another room while you work. Not because you are dramatic, because distance matters. It might mean turning off notifications that do not come from real people. Not every app deserves the power to imitate urgency. It might mean deleting the apps that turn 5 seconds into 50 minutes. It might mean choosing times to check messages instead of letting messages choose when you think. It might mean making your phone boring on purpose. Gray screen, no badges, no autoplay, no feeds in bed, no scrolling in the first quiet minutes of the morning. These are not moral rules. They are environmental repairs. Because the deeper lesson is not that phones are evil. They are not. A phone can call your mother, map a strange city, teach you a language, record your child's voice, bring help in an emergency, show you something beautiful that you would never have seen otherwise. This is not a speech about throwing your phone into the sea. The problem is not the rectangle of glass. The problem is the infinite world behind it. A world with no night, no edge, no village size, no natural silence, no final signal. For most of history, attention was how humans found food, avoided danger, learned from each other, and stayed inside the group. Now that same attention is being harvested by systems that never get tired, never get bored, never look away, and never have to live inside the mind they are shaping. You have to live there. You have to sleep there. You have to think there. You have to love people from there. You have to build a life from whatever attention is left. So maybe the question is not, why am I so bad at focusing? Maybe the question is, what kind of world keeps asking my survival brain to treat everything as urgent? Because your brain was not built for infinite scrolling. It was built for wind and grass, for faces around a fire, for footsteps behind you, for ripe fruit in a tree, for danger that passed, for stories that ended, for darkness that arrived whether you were ready or not. The ancient world had limits. The modern feed does not. So if the screen has no horizon, you have to give it one. Not because you are weak, because your attention is one of the oldest survival tools you own, and it was never meant to be handed over this easily.